So I think it's finally time we talk about an operator in Rainbow Six Siege which has one of the strongest kits in the game, yet they have a worse performance rate than Grim, who is a factually worse version of Capitao. Before we go any further with this video, if you do go on to enjoy it, be sure to drop it a like and consider subscribing, as we are on the road to 50,000 subscribers and all your support means the world. So the operator I am of course talking about is Gridlock. Let me take the time to explain to you as to why Gridlock is such a strong operator and why she is so underrated and why you need to play her more. Now I feel like one of the major things you have to talk about in the underperformance of Gridlock is the comparison to another flank watch operator, Nomad. Nomad was added to the game back in Operation Wind Bastion, and just one season later Gridlock was added to the game in Operation Burnt Horizon. So when two of the major flank watching operators were added a season apart, it was really hard not to compare both operators. And I think I can confidently say when they both released, Nomad was the clear winner. Gridlock wasn't bad, but what Nomad brought to the table was just more desirable for a majority of players. Over time though, we have seen many changes coming to the game, and some really nice additions which have brought a lot of the lower standing operators into a nicer spot. So yes, Nomad is an absolutely great flank watcher, she's got great weapons, however at this point in time Gridlock can do an extremely similar job whilst bringing more to the team. So let's take a look at what Gridlock brings that Nomad doesn't. First and foremost, one of the secondary weapons which Gridlock has is actually the Super Shorty. Having a soft breach shotgun secondary is one of the most powerful secondaries you can have in the game, because you can bring the role of soft breach without having to replace your primary weapon, your secondary gadget, or your primary gadget. And don't worry, we'll get into her primary weapons in a second because they are absolutely amazing. So she can bring soft breach with her Super Shorty, or if you would actually like to destroy utility, she can also bring the Gun 6. And this is just purely dependent on what attack you're doing on that round, whether you would like to substitute the Super Shorty for the Gun 6 or vice versa. But having that option is a really nice thing. And yes, I know Nomad can bring breaching charges, but that means that is the only secondary gadget she can bring. But Gridlock on the other hand actually has the option of the secondary EMP nades, which is a relatively new addition to the game. So now we've established with her secondary Super Shorty she can do soft breaching, with her secondary gadget, the EMP nades, she can now disable wall denial, helping the hard breacher out, and of course her Trax stingers, which is her main gadget, can be used as flank watch. And I'm going to show a little example in a second here, right after we talk about her primary weapons. For starters, Gridlock has the F90 assault rifle, which literally has zero recoil, a good selection of scopes, has a lot of bullets per magazine, and is just a hard hitting weapon in general. This is literally one of the most underrated assault rifles in the game, and this is one of my most desired weapons to get reused on a new operator in the future. And then her other primary weapon is the M249 SAW LMG. Now recently LMGs all did get a nerf because we were in an LMG meta and they wanted to change that around, but I'd say even after all that, the SAW is one of the most lowest recoil LMGs, at least on PC. There is a bit of a kick, but it is extremely manageable, way more manageable than Finka's LMG. And as well as this, you don't have to wait forever to reload it because it's actually reloaded using a magazine, making this the fastest LMG to reload in the game. So both of her primary weapons are some of the best guns in their respected categories. And yes, she does have the STP 9mm handgun, but when you've got a Super Shorty and Gun 6 as an option, you're not going to want to be running this. So let's jump into some examples. So the defenders are going to be defending workshop and vents on border, and we want to attack the top floor so we can play vertical below us. And yes, I did use this exact same site in my example in the recruit video. I just think it's a really good site because a lot of people attack it this way and it will help you understand. So when defenders are defending workshop and vents, it's very wise to play an armory above you to cut down on vertical play from the attackers. A lot of the time you will find the armory wall not only reinforced but electrified with a bandit, Kaze, or even a mute jammer. So let me show you how Gridlock is going to absolutely excel in this scenario. So here you're going to want to bring Gridlock and someone with hard breaching capabilities. Gridlock will use her secondary EMPs to remove the utility off the wall, allowing the hard breacher to breach the wall. And of course, best case scenario, you drone top floor, you manage to clear the enemies out of it, and you take control of the site. And now you're going to want to actually use Gridlock's Trax stingers to block off the flanks at top metal, 90, and even office. And yes, although if someone enters this, it isn't as big a giveaway as an Airjab, but remember, if people want to walk through this, they have to take damage, which you will be able to hear, and if they want to get rid of the Trax stingers, they have to impact it, which you will hear, or they have to start shooting them, which you will once again hear, giving away their position. So even if someone doesn't actually walk in a Trax stinger, them actually trying to remove them to get past is going to be enough of a giveaway to give away their position. So we have top floor control, we have the flanks gridlocked off, now we gotta start making some soft breaches in the floor, and of course, Gridlock can do this as well with the Super Shorty in her pocket. And now finally, you have a strong primary weapon to deal with the enemies who are in your sights. And heck, you still have an EMP left over, maybe there's an electrical on the hatch, you can get that so you can open up the hatch. And you'll still have Trax stingers left as well, potentially. There's so many things that can happen, but with just one single operator, you have managed to fill the role role of many other operators. And a lot of you guys may be thinking, can't you not do this with other operators? And yes, you can. That is the beauty of Siege, is that there isn't one fixed way to do anything. It can be done by so many different means. I just want to highlight how Gridlock can do it because I feel like you just never see a Gridlock on the board. So let's see how her gadget compares to an Airjab by Nomad. I want to take a look at this example of East Stairs on border and where I actually think that a Gridlock Trax Stinger actually does this better than an Airjab. If you want to stop a flank from East Stairs, yes, you can place an Airjab on top of the doorway on the hallway, but there's still that other doorway at the balcony. Okay, you can either use 2 Airjabs, one on either door, or you can start putting the Airjab further back. But when you start putting it closer to the stairs, there isn't really any safe location for this Airjab where the enemy can't shoot it before they hit it. So this is where I think Gridlock is actually better here, because throwing one of her Trax Stingers in the middle here is going to block off the entrance to the doorway and then block off the little bit before you get to the balcony door as well. This would at least cause the enemy to have to shoot one of the Trax Stingers, signaling that they are flanking, or just stick with the damage and try make their way round. But remember, this is being achieved with just a single Trax Stinger, and Gridlock has access to 4, whereas Nomad only has 3 Airjabs. So on paper, Gridlock can cover more flanks than Nomad can. And then we've got the 2 major counters of Gridlock and Nomad, and that is Jaeger and Wamai. Both Nomad's Airjab and Gridlock's Trax Stingers will be captured by the magnets from Wamai. Once the magnet is finished doing its thing, the Gridlock Trax Stingers will actually still deploy, but they'll just be dropped wherever the magnet was. Whereas the Airjab will detonate where the magnet was itself, most of the time deeming it useless, but it can still be useful in some occasions. But in this case, the Trax Stingers are still going to be deployed, where the Airjab is kind of just going to blow up in the corner and still do its little thing. However, when it comes to Jaeger, Gridlock is actually completely immune to Jaeger's ADS. They have absolutely zero effect on her Trax Stingers and cannot do anything about it. However, Nomad's Airjabs will be captured by the ADSs as long as they aren't burned out. And I am making this video in Operation Commanding Force, so it should be said, if Mozzie hacks a Brava drone and actually hacks an Airjab, it becomes a defending Airjab. However, they can't actually hack a Trax Stinger since it is mechanical. And if you do place an Airjab in the radius of a mute jammer, it will disable the Airjab until the mute jammer is gone. But taking a look at Gridlock, the Trax Stingers are once again mechanical, meaning that the mute jammers have no effect on them. We can also talk about Solace as well. Solace can see where the Airjabs are on her scanner, but she cannot see where any of the Trax Stingers are, which are deployed by Gridlock. So honestly, taking a look at it, both Nomad and Gridlock have insanely strong guns, so I think they're pretty much even there. I would actually say that Gridlock's primaries are stronger, but the ARX for Nomad and also the AK are both really strong as well, so I'm not going to discredit them. I'm going to call it equal there. Gridlock easily has the better options of secondary weapons with the Super Shorty and Gun 6, whereas Nomad only has 2 pistols. When it comes to secondary gadgets as well, I'd say Gridlock wins again because the EMPs are just that useful. And when it comes to their gadgets, they both got insanely amazing gadgets which can be used in a similar way, and it can just come down to personal preference. However, I think as the seasons go on, Nomad is getting more and more counters, whereas Gridlock is kind of gliding under the radar. And I think for a lot of people as well, it's the fact that Gridlock is a 1-speed, but I think the sooner people realize that speed actually doesn't matter that much and the extra health you actually get is probably more important in my opinion, then you'll open your eyes up to a wider variety of operators. So in conclusion, both Nomad and Gridlock are amazing attacking and flank watching operators in Rainbow Six Siege. However, a lot of people don't really give Gridlock the love she deserves. So if you take anything from this video, just think the next time you're going to pick Nomad, maybe consider bringing a Gridlock and the potential benefits that will bring with her added utility. Drop me your thoughts in the comment section below, drop a like if you did enjoy, dislike if you did not. I'll catch you all later, I love you all, peace.